This is more like it in terms of the Evil Dead films. Evil Dead Rise is the currently final film in the Evil Dead franchise, which does actually have Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell attached to the project, so that's quite interesting. Overall thoughts on the film: it's definitely better than the one that I watched previously, Evil Dead. The tone is a lot more in line with where I think the Evil Dead franchise should be. In terms of, there is horror. There is really good moments of horror. But there's still that campiness, that, I don't want to say joyful, because it's not a joyful film watching a family get murdered. It is a film that very much is having fun with the demon, the deadites. Like, it's better. It's better. It does still have its problems, which I will get into, but definitely in terms of, like, I don't feel as overcome with sadness and dread as I was with the last film. This film is a lot more enjoyable in the sense of its story, its acting, the effects. We'll get to the effects, but the effects. The one thing you can guarantee with an Evil Dead film, no matter what film, the practical, the CGI effects are on point. They are on point. And Evil Dead Rise starts with another cold opening again, where this girl was ill. We get the Evil Dead cam, but it's a fake out, and I'm surprised this is the first fake out we've had in the first 5 films, or we're 5 films in, and this is the first fake out. It's a drone, and they make the comment that this could have messed my face up real bad. We'll come back to that. So the friend who is a girl, goes up to check on her friend, and she's possessed. She starts reading the book that she's reading, and then pukes all over her, and then scalps her, because that's just first violent action is a scalping. So then the boyfriend is down. They all go down to the dock. The friend who was ill grabs the drone, puts it to her face. Then the boyfriend jumps in after her because she falls in the lake and gets decapitated. She rises out the water, and pretty cool title scene, Evil Dead Rise, with it in the background. The only thing I think would have been better is if as she was rising up, the title came up with it. Just a little bit of advice from a movie maker like myself. We then cut to our protagonists, we cut to Beth, who is our protagonist. And she's peeing in the bathroom, she's doing a pregnancy test, she's pregnant, plays a lot into the story. And then we meet the rest of the family. You've got, my God, how can I not remember the mother? So there's Bridge, Danny, Casey, I think it's Casey. The 3 children of the mother, who I'm just going to call the mother because I can't remember her name. But you see them, and this, out of all the Evil Deads, this is the slowest to build up, and it does it well. I think you see a good chemistry between all of the family. The mother and the 3 siblings work really well together. They build a relationship. There's some good foreshadowing in here where a pair of scissors is thrown under the floor. Daphne, which is this baby doll, Casey, the little kid, is pretty messed up. Like, she's pretty messed up. She was decapitating dolls before this film even happened. And she puts on a stick. The stick breaks, making it sharp at the end. Good foreshadowing. Who broke it as well? Good foreshadowing. So some really nice kind of little plot points that I kind of watched. I having seen it again, you kind of pick up on these things. And Auntie Beth shows up unannounced at the family home. Everyone's like, "Oh, great." Her sister's like, "Why are you here?" And she ends up telling her that she is pregnant. Or no, she's about to. And then an earthquake happens, and the kids were out getting pizza. They just arrived at the garage, and then the earthquake opens up a vault because, of course, Danny, who is clearly the more adventurous of the siblings, dives down into it, finds the Necronomicon, and finds the records because she is a DJ, or she a wannabe DJ, and she takes the records because, of course, find that a little bit like, okay, but they've got to get this. I think it's better doing it this way rather than having, don't read, write, or say this. And the guy says it, writes it, and reads it all at the same time. So we're just kind of establishing more of the relationships. Again, I think the acting is really good. The mother in particular is a standout. I think, spoiler, when she becomes a deadite, underutilized. I think we could have had more of her as in the actual picture. She kind of gets locked out, but we'll get to that. So where are we? The records are played. Evil Dead cam straight into the mother. Like all the Evil Dead films has a weird thing with bondage. I'm just going to say it. It's a weird kink because all the films feature a bit of hardcore bondage, and this time, thankfully, there's no penetration. She just gets snapped and bent, which actually, would that be better? I don't know. I don't want to think about these things. And she is now possessed. The mother is now possessed, and she's the star of the show as the Deadite. She is a standout, definitely one of the best Deadite that we have come across in terms of just. And I get the films do such a good job. It's the eyes. The eyes are so distinct with the Deadites. They are, despite there being different iterations, different versions of them, it's always the eyes that really add that kind of horror element to it. And yeah, she just looks unsettling to look at. She just looks unnerving. She is not fun to look at in terms of her appearance, in terms of the way she's creepy. But she's very much fun. She's mocking the children that she's got. She's mocking her sister. A bit more playful, a bit more not so over the top aggressive where it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, she does have moments like that, and the Deadites do, but she's a lot more playful. She's a lot more kind of endearing, trying to lure them into that false sense of security before she strikes. So she attacks them. She gets Bridge with is it a nail or is it like a tattoo gun type thing? And they manage to shove her outside where everybody dies outside that hall. There's the neighbour, 2 kids, and an old guy with a gun who shoots her. And this is where I feel like she's outside for a large part of the film. They're just kind of using the peephole to kind of keep her in the film, but and it does lead to some good moments. But I feel like she could have been utilised more within the film in terms of like more of the mocking, more of being the actual protagonist, the antagonist, sorry. So Bridge has been cut, and we know what that means in the Evil Dead universe. She is now going to be possessed, and she gets possessed pretty bad. She's coughing up insects, and then Beth goes to check on her, and she's chewing glass. Like some great Some great practical effects here where she swallows the glass. It like pops out of her neck. Oh, looks horrible. Then she attacks Auntie Beth and we get the cheese grater. God damn, that looked brutal. The cheese grater to the calf. Probably up there with one of the worst / best violent moments in The Evil Dead. Because it's horrific to look at. But it works. It just works. She gets scalped. She doesn't get scalped. Gets scalped with like a frying tool. She chases them in, and Staphne to the rescue. Bridge and what's the little girl's name? I've said it. Casey. Is it Casey? We're playing, and that's how it broke. So Bridge takes Staphne right through the mouth, and best effect of the film. A stick right through her, and she just pulls it out, standing there, drooling blood. I don't know if it's CGI and practical or a mix, but it looks fantastic. Looks so good. She dies. We'll come back to that. So then Danny ties her up, puts her in like a sleeping bag, but ties some things around her. Danny and was this before? I think this might have been before. The mother's outside and she's singing doing what all good Deadites do, singing a song. Casey goes to open the door and instantaneously the mother grabs her and like tries to yank her. It's again another good scare. So then we get to Danny and Auntie Beth talking about the book and the records. Beth wants to listen to the book, and we get that scene where basically the priest is like, yeah, this can't be killed. Also, something that I didn't mention was they said this was the priest says this was the third volume of the Necronomicon. So I wonder if they're hinting at all of the films being canon in the same universe, which could be quite an interesting thought process, or it could be an interesting kind of cinematic universe. We could have the three heroes of the film meet up. We could have the three villains. We could have the Deadites come back. It could be a Evil Dead verse. Please do not do that. Don't do that. But I did find that interesting. A wee maybe homage to the other universes in this world. Went off track there. Good scene of really good horror. This scene actually, with basically the mother's figured it out again. She's going to crawl through the ducts, and as she's crawling through, they are following her. And as they're following the camera, in behind the Danny and he's the young girl walks in. Bridge with the sleeping bag still over. Good little subtle scare there. I like the subtle scares. I like the kind of anticipation, the atmosphere that builds. Mother climbs through. We'll best listen to it with the headphones on. She sees in the window. Stabs her in the neck with a screwdriver. It doesn't do anything. She's then getting attacked by Danny gets attacked by Bridge. She gets puked on, so she's possessed now. And then the mother catches Auntie Beth. Looks like she's going to kill her, and they realise that she's got a baby. But Cassie, is it Cassie? Cass, I think it's Cass. Casey, oh my god. Casey, with the scissors, up the nose, stun locks her. Because, yeah, the Deadites can't die like that. So they then go into the hall to try to get away, and you see the carnage, see the atmosphere. Oh, I forgot one of the best deaths, actually. In the hall, while it's all going on, the neighbour gets his eye bit out, and then it's spit into one of the young boys, who I think chokes on it, which is pretty brutal. Brutal way to go. And he obviously an homage to, pardon me, The Evil Dead 2. We then go on to the lift. They're trying to get down the lift. It fills with blood. And this is where the film loses me a wee bit. It kind of ends with like another final boss type moment. I will say this is a better final boss design than the one we watched last time, The Evil Dead. Just in terms of the puppetry and the CGI, it's well done. But essentially, Bridge, Danny, and the mother become this monstrous amalgamation of their three bodies. And they are on top of the lift. You see all the hands, you don't see it yet, and the lift falls with copious amounts of blood because, of course, it's Evil Dead. There wouldn't be an Evil Dead film without just rivers of blood. Like, it's really a lot of blood. So it looks like they're going to get away. The garage door's open, but it doesn't happen. Looks like they're about to go and get in there, but Beth gets out, but Cassie gets dragged back in. So Beth goes back for her, tying it all together, showing that she's going to be a good mother. It does the story. It does really come full circle. I like this. It really does make Beth second best protagonist in the Evil Dead. Obviously Bruce Campbell the best, but Beth, she's got those maternal instincts that she needs. So it looks like there's a chainsaw as well. There's just so much. I love the Evil Dead franchise. There's just so many. There's so many things attached to it. There's a chainsaw. Casey looks like she's going to get her head chopped off by the amalgamation of her sister, brother, and mother. And it doesn't happen because Auntie Beth's there to save the day. Casey gets out, it's crawling towards her. They're on top of a wood chipper that was shown earlier on. And as you can expect, the chainsaw gets used to push the monster into the wood chipper, and blood goes everywhere. And that's the story. And may I say, badass. With the chainsaw at the end, looks badass. Covered in blood, wielding that chainsaw, looks amazing. Auntie Beth, well done. Fantastic, absolutely nailed it. And then, honestly, the most unrealistic thing about this film is the end, where this pretty, almost like rich kid girl walks out and is living in this flat, this high rise that is due to be demolished. It's run down. That's the most unrealistic thing about this film, is that she would be living there. And she's the girl from the first scene in the movie, so it's coming full circle, it's tying everything in. And that is Evil Dead Rise, a good addition to the Evil Dead franchise. I think it definitely is tonally more of what I'm looking for from the franchise. Again, Evil Dead has its place, but definitely it was a nice palate cleanser coming back to this one. I think it, not that Evil Dead doesn't, in terms of, doesn't deserve the name of the Evil Dead, but this is more, I think, succinct with what Sam Raimi's kind of original vision was for the Evil Dead franchise, with the horror and then the comedy. Not so much there is actually, I think the comedy comes from the family dynamics. Once the horror actually kind of comes, there's, in the Deadite, the possession happens, there's very little kind of horror, comedy, in there, but there's sprinkles of it. But definitely there's a lot of good comedy in the early parts of it, with the little kid calling Staffney, and just some good jokes, and it really does work as an Evil Dead film. I think they have landed on a good film here. It's not great. I think the ending, like with the amalgamation, could have been done better. It felt, like I said, like a video game kind of final boss, where it was just over the top for the sake of being over the top, and it kind of loses the special nature of the Deadites, is that they are these demons who not only kill but harass and play with their victims, where this thing didn't. Like, it just kind of wanted to kill, and like, yeah, it just wasn't a good ending to what I thought was a solid film, and that's what this is. It's a solid Evil Dead film. So I had to give it 7.5, so it's a whole leg up from, I wouldn't go as high as an 8, but definitely 7.5 in terms of my scale. So, we're done the Evil Dead films. Hey! Let me rank them just nice and quickly. From last, we've got Evil Dead. When was this? 2015? 2016? Don't know, but it is last. Then we're going Evil Dead Rise, because the original are just so good. And then we've got Army of Darkness, The Evil Dead, and of course my favourite film of all time, on top, Evil Dead 2. So there you go. Oh, wrong way up. That is my ranking of the Evil Dead films. I have thoroughly enjoyed this horror month, going through all the films. Doesn't end here, but we've got 3 seasons of TV to watch. God, I'm never getting these out before the end of October. Why did I not start this earlier? Oh. Anyway, with all that being said, what did you think of the Evil Dead films? Any of them? Evil Dead Rise, what do you think of it? Leave comments down below if you made it this far. With all that being said, all that's left to say is any thoughts, comments, general hostile remarks, leave them below. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.